What's going on, guys? I don't know where you guys are located in the country, but I've been getting heat rashes, guys. I literally been getting heat rashes, guys, because it's so hot here in the South. It's so hot here in the South, guys. Um, but I want to get into a discussion real quick with you guys. I know this type of heat draws some really bad storms. But I want to get into a little quick discussion with you guys. Want to do some talking. Um, I want to talk to you guys about. I just want to tell you guys, and this is something I had to learn. Regardless of what you may be going through or facing in your life, it's never an excuse to say reckless things that are just off the wall, to say things that you would regret, or to say things that you normally would not say. Regardless of what you're dealing with in life, regardless of what you're going through in life, I just want to tell you guys, be mindful of what you say. That's what I had to learn. Be mindful of the things you say, regardless of what you're dealing with in your life. Be mindful of the things you say, because, you know, once you put certain things in the atmosphere, you can't take those things back. You know, once you said certain things, once you've sown certain seeds, you know, you can't take those things back. Um, this is coming from a mature mindset, because in my past, you know, I said things that I should have never said. You know, I was frustrated, going through a lot of things in life, and I said things that I just should have never said in my life. And, you know, sometimes life can really get frustrating. Life can really present you with a lot of problems in life, and life can weigh on you. And sometimes you'll get so frustrated in life to where you will say things that you really don't mean. Because when I used to make my presentations, when I was in my younger days, when I was in my 20s, you know, when I made my first presentation back when I was 19, you know, I said things and did things that I should have never done. You know, I said things that were off the wall. I said things that were reckless. But what I had to learn, coming from a mature mindset at 36 years old, I had to learn, be mindful of the things you say, and be mindful of the things that come out of your mouth, because once you put certain things out there, you can't take it back. You know, and you just don't want to put certain energy out there that don't need to be out there. I mean, life is rough. I mean, life can really present you with some really tough circumstances. Life can really beat you down. You know, life can make you frustrated. Life can really make you depressed too. You know, life can definitely beat you down. You know, and I just want to shine a light and tell you guys that just be mindful of the things you say, because, you know, once you put certain stuff out there, you can't take it back. I mean, I've been through a lot in my life. I've had a lot of challenges in my life. I've experienced a lot of negative circumstances in my life. But what I'm trying to do, in spite of all of the hell, I'm just trying to be mindful of the things that I say. Because you don't want to give, you just don't want to say nothing that you'll regret. One of the worst things in the world is to live life with a regret. You never want to live with regret. That's one thing you don't want to do. And that's why you want to be mindful of the things that you say. And in my younger days, I said certain things that was off the wall back when I was in my 20s, when I was a teenager. You know, I even did things that were dumb, you know, when I was a kid, you know, when I was very young. But, you know, you live and you learn. You know, that's why life is it's a learning journey. You know, I'm glad that I've come a long way from where I used to be, because certain things that I would say in the past was just reckless. But life is a learning journey. You live and you learn. That's why if I was a father and I had children, I would never try to force my kids to grow up and think like an adult too fast. See, you got some parents, they want their kids to grow up and they want their kids to think on the level of a grown person too fast. Let a child be a child, and you teach them along the way, because you gonna F up. When you a kid, when you young, you're gonna make bad decisions, you're gonna do dumb stuff. It's all a part of the learning process. But once the older you get, the wisdom comes, and you learn from the dumb things that you did in your younger days, and that you see a better way the older you get. Life is a learning lesson. It's a forever learning journey. That's what life is, a forever learning journey. And this is why I'm just here to say in this presentation, just be mindful of the things that you say and be mindful of the things that you do, because like I stated, you don't want to live life with regret. You don't want to be like, man, in my younger days when I was a youngin', I was saying some crazy stuff. I was doing some dumb stuff, some off the wall stuff. I think about some of the things I did when I was a kid. It was just dumb. But you live and you learn. I was a kid then. It's just that like I say, guys, you just don't want to live life with regret. And I had to learn too in life, don't be so hard on yourself, because you can't beat yourself up. Because I used to beat myself up over things that I did in my younger days, over things that I did when I was a teenager, over things that I did when I was in my 20s. But I had to realize and come to terms and understand that I was young then. When you a kid, when you young, you gonna do dumb stuff. But once you grow up and you become an adult, you think like an adult, and you put away childish things. Like, I can see a lot of growth within myself from the time I was in my 20s to now. I've come a long way, I see the transitions. I see the transition from my 20s to my 30s. I've changed a lot mentally. I've changed a whole lot. A lot of the things that I said in my 20s, a lot of the reckless things that I said, a lot of the reckless things that I was doing, I don't do those things anymore, because I realized that that's just not the way to go about things, regardless of what you're going through in life. Sometimes, when you're frustrated in life, when you're mad, when life is beating you down, when you're going through a lot in life, it can cause you to act out of character. It can cause you to do things that you wouldn't normally do. It can cause you to act a fool. But I understand that at this point in my life, at 36, I understand that as a grown man, at the level that I'm at this point in my life, I understand that regardless of what you're going through in life, you still gotta have some kind of dignity about yourself. You don't just do anything and say all kind of reckless things. You still gotta keep a level head regardless of what you're dealing with in life. But I understand that now at this point in my life. But I just felt this would be a good topic, because I was just thinking to myself, in my younger days, like, I did a lot of reckless things, and I said a lot of reckless things. I said a lot of things that I shouldn't have been saying, stuff that was just crazy. I was saying a lot of crazy things, but I was young, and I was going through a lot of things in life. But I understand at this point in my life, regardless of what you're dealing with, you still got to hold yourself together. But you guys, make sure you leave your comments. Let me know what you think about this. You guys have a good evening. I just want to say have a happy Wednesday, and I'll talk to you guys soon. And any topic that you would like to hear that I have not spoken about yet, leave that in the comments of this presentation, and I will make sure to do it in the next presentation. I'll make sure to discuss whatever you want me to discuss in the next presentation. But I hope that this was this presentation, I hope this gave some wisdom to certain people to just remember, regardless of what you're going through, hold it together. Don't allow your problems to get the best of you, and don't allow the circumstances of life to cause you to do things that you wouldn't normally do. But you guys have a good evening. Talk to you soon.